Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all those in between. It is Tuesday night. It is not Taco Tuesday. It's Podcast Tuesday, and we are so excited to be back on almost like playoff getting ready for Tuesday. It's December. The games are meaning a whole bunch, and it's actually probably my favorite time of year. And now I can really enjoy it because the Lions are doing well. So that makes me feel very good because in the past, it's kind of been like, let's kind of sit out and watch everybody else. But now that I'm in, it's great. Okay. So joining us today, as always, we have the lovely Dana. Yay, I got it right. I pointed to the right side. Now,
you
she
did.
just got back from a trip, and I think she had a lot of fun. Because she doesn't really have too much of a voice, so
I don't have too much of a voice. I for anyone old enough to know who Eartha Kitt is, that's who I feel like I've just go look at Boomerang. You'll know who Eartha Kitt is. But yeah, I went on a little. I got in a metal tube to fly to get into a metal boat to then fly home on a metal tube, and somewhere in there, Dana picked up a cold. So yes, it was. So Sonia's been very gracious and thankful host, so you don't have to listen to this.
And of course, we always have Lisa coming to join us. Hi, Lisa.
What's up? What's up?
Not much. How are you? Glad to see you could come and join us. So excited to talk about things today. Also, before we get started, a couple business things. First off, it's Tuesday. Thank you, Donkey's Place, for sponsoring us. As always, this is our 4th year. They have 3 locations in New Jersey: Mount Holly, Medford, and Camden. Make sure you stop by. If you stop by, tell them that the Our Turf ladies sent you. Anthony Bourdain once raved about how great they are, so you know that they are good. Mm-hmm. And Philly people go over there too. I know they don't want us to know that, but we know that they do. So it's for real legit if they do that. If you can't go to New Jersey, you can always go to goldbelly.com, search Donkey's Place, get some ordered to your house directly. It takes a couple days to get there, but yeah, make sure you do that. Also, one last thing, if you are watching us on the Facebooks, on the X, on the Blue Skies, come on over to our YouTube. We have a lovely chat going right now. We get in there, we bring in your comments, and we get to talk, and we get to interact with you all, and we love that part. Yes, Sue, the metal tubes can be very dangerous. So just, this holiday season, as you're traveling, make sure you take your little elderberry and things like that. Nurse has to come through and poke out. Okay, now that we've done all that and I've run my mouth, it's time to get started. It's time to get started with the topics of today. I love the fact that when you go to games now and people get all excited and they're chanting MVP, MVP, MVP. One of my favorite things to do. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the MVP race. I know we'll get to the playoffs in just a second, but we're about to get to talking about playoffs for a while anyway. So let's just talk about these races because I don't think we have put in our 2 cents yet about who do you think is going to win what. So let's start with the MVP race. And I'm going to start with Lisa. Lisa, who do you think is your MVP for this season? You're muted, honey. We're all having issues with mute buttons tonight. Mine just kept going. Sue finds the MVP talk to be annoying. Interesting. I get that. You know what? I feel that. Because, in the end, who cares if you won the MVP if you didn't get a Super Bowl ring in some cases, right? And some people would rather have the Super Bowl ring than the MVP. Hang on, honey. Let me see if I can unmute you. Oh, I can't unmute you. Your mic is not connected.
Oh, your mic's not connected. All right, so I'll go. We'll start. Lisa will get it all figured out because Lisa will. But all right, so MVP is very interesting to me because it really should not be MVP. It should be the quarterback award, right? Like that's what we need to do. Very rarely is anyone but a quarterback going to win MVP. But there's offensive player of the year. Bite me. No, that's not the same. MVP is the person who is carrying a team. Now, I will tell you, often it is a quarterback, right? And so we get that. Look at Camden says I'm smoky. I know. But yeah, so I think that is the crux of a lot of people's irritation with the MVP award is that it should just be called a quarterback award. If you look at betting odds right now, the first person at a plus 250 is Josh Allen. And I think that there is a definite argument to be made for Josh Allen. I think that he is truly carrying his team, right? He is truly the guy who is laying it all out there. But I don't think he should be MVP. You know who my vote is. Oh, Lisa, we heard you for a minute. Why? Are you there? Oh, there she is. Why? Because I think it should be Saquon Barkley.
Oh, good.
I think
God.
Saquon Barkley has carried. Well, he's second in the betting odds right now, and I think it's because I truly wonder where the Eagles would be without him. I think we all know where the Bills would be without, right? But I wonder if he has had such a bigger impact on the Eagles than most people would give credit for, And I think, Camden just said it in the comments too. Barkley could break 2,000. If he breaks 2,000, I almost tell you he will be a guarantee for the MVP for sure.
Agreed. Lisa, what's your thoughts on the MVP race? I know you're a quarterback fan.
I am. Like I said, right now, when you look at the quarterback play of the hierarchies, when you look at stats, and if you're a stat person, you look at Lamar Jackson, you look at Josh Allen. They're having great seasons. Josh more so, like Dana said, makes sense. It's without Josh, the Bills probably wouldn't be anything. He's the team, but he's their MVP for sure. League MVP, like you said, it could be. If Barkley breaks 2,000, it's hands down. Seriously. It's not. And you've talked to some people. It's hands down now because of what he's done for the Eagles, and the difference that he's made. If you're the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles right now, you're probably about ready just to, how don't you fire everybody? If he gets MVP, seriously.
Well,
I don't know how the dude's going to sleep at night. That's crazy.
Agreed. Darcy. Sorry, I read Darcy. So that kind of popped out. But Darcy brings up a good point. Josh Allen is the favorite for it. But if Barkley gets it, you're right.
Yeah.
And no, I did not realize that. I knew it had been a while since a running back had won the MVP, but I did not realize it was since 2012 and only 4 since 2000. So thank you, Darcy, for being stat guy for us.
So I think in 2012, and Darcy, correct me if I'm wrong, was Adrian Peterson, if I remember correctly. And then I could be wrong there too. And I know like Sean Alexander won it. Running backs just don't get it. And honest to God, ladies, it was just 2 seasons ago where we had written off this position completely. Right. And look at the impact it has had this year. Even for the not superstars, I look at the Seahawks game from last week. Zach Charbonnet is our number 2 running back, right?
Yeah.
And he had 136 yards, right? Well, it's crazy.
And I think we saw a flux. It was
AP.
Mm-hmm. I think we saw an influx because when we had done a show, and it was a while ago, and I forgot the guest that we had, and we were talking about college football, how they were doing the spread formations and how, the West Coast offense was going to a hybrid type spread. And we didn't need to run it back because we were in that flux. And I forgot who it was. I forget somebody pretty popular we had as a guest. And he said that. He said the NFL has a way of coming full circle.
It was Emory.
Emory. I think that was Emory.
Was it? Because it was, I just remember that distinctly saying, oh, okay. And that we will go back to it. It just comes back. It evolves back to the same thing. And it always goes back to that football 101. It's from the trenches, the running backs and stuff like that. And he was right. To me, it's come full circles. We're not seeing those spreads anymore. Now we're seeing more, some of the teams have still adapted, still shotguns, but I'm seeing more and more quarterbacks go under center.
Right. Yeah. The passing game is way down this year,
right,
which is fascinating. After the years of Patrick Mahomes saving the day with his arm, now you need other players that can come in and do that. It is really interesting. It was Marshall Faulk. Oh, thanks, Darcy. So it was Marshall Faulk in 2000, Sean Alexander and LaDainian Tomlinson, back to back in 2005 and 6. Yeah. Oh, Sean Alexander. God love him. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
A couple other good comments too. If Josh was the difference, this is from Diana. Hi, Diana. If Josh was the difference maker for Buffalo wouldn't have lost to the Rams. He balled out. His team lost. I agree. He did everything he could that game. I don't know if you guys watched it.
Three touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns.
It was insane.
Three rushing touchdowns and 2 passing, or the other way around.
2 passes.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. Camden
that game solidified it for me. And I don't usually cap for Josh Allen like that, but he literally took that team on his back. And you're right, they did not win.
I didn't get that comment.
Damn it, if he didn't do everything that he could to get them to win.
Yeah.
And, Matthew Stafford is just that good, too. He and Pooh that was a great game, y'all.
It was
a
good
game of the week. I tweeted that out. That was just like, it was such a good game. I wanted to tweet more, but I was just like enthralled, and it was just really great watching
the Rams. The Rams are going to be a spoiler team, brother. Let me tell you, they're going to wreak havoc.
I've made a decision that the division comes down to the Seahawks Rams in week 18, I'm going to LA. I got it.
You have to.
I have to. It's going to be so good. I've got to go. Funny. All right. Are we going to talk about these other awards too, or just that one?
Yeah, sure. We can always talk about the other ones. Want to talk about Offensive Rookie of the Year?
Yeah.
Lisa, who's it going to be?
It's going to be Bo Nix.
I think you might be right.
Bo Nix over Jaden.
But I mean, the thing about it here's, and this is, I'm going to quarterback talk for just a minute. Give me just a couple minutes, okay?
Take your time.
Because I've been dealing with quarterback talk on X and all the other ones for a little bit now, because everybody's talking about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's team sucks. The Bengals suck. Their record sucks.
They're not good.
But Troy Aikman just rode his jock last night like he was the best quarterback in the league. Tua Tagovailoa of the Miami Dolphins has 3 times better stats than Joe Burrow's, and he gets nothing. And so we were talking about that today, because I think when you look at quarterbacks, you look at expectations. You don't look at stats anymore. With us, we look at expectations. We had Dan Marino. We had, we expect our quarterback to show flashes. It's not good enough that he's actually playing really good football right now, believe it or not. I mean, he's actually playing really good football. Yeah. Joe Burrow, you see a flash. He's got Jamal Chase. I mean, this is little binky. But for some reason, he's this elite quarterback all of a sudden, that Joe Burrow. And I think Bo Nix is getting the same thing over Jalen right now. Everybody loves Bo Nix. He's the next up and coming, according to the media. And it just seems like things are expectations. And that's what I was telling people in online, is because when you look at quarterbacks and because we're 50-50 with Tua. I mean, some people love him, some people hate him. There's like no in between. He's a good quarterback, but it's the expectations. He just, to me, hasn't been met in Miami from what people put him on a pedestal. But to me, what's the difference between like a Joe Burrow and a Tua? Your teams both are kind of in the rut. I mean, both are playing good, but for some reason, Joe Burrow gets put on a pedestal. And
because
I feel
he went to a Super Bowl.
Well, and I think Bo Nix is getting put on a pedestal, and we kind of forgotten about Jaden Daniels all of a sudden.
Because he lost some games. That's why. Because Jaden lost some games. And as Jaden was falling, Bo was coming around and whooping the Falcons and all that other good stuff. And I think that was right. I mean, granted, it's the Falcons, but still, he put on a show. So I think that probably is playing a part of it too. But you have to look at the whole body of work. And I think that Jaden right now, I think they're probably like neck and neck. And it's really just going to come down to like these last few games.
If you had a vote, who would it be?
If I had a vote?
Yeah.
I'd say Jaden.
Me too. I want to mention one other rookie. So if you look at the betting odds right now, Jaden Daniels is actually at the top. And then you have Bo Nix. The third is the interesting one. And this one is one that gets overlooked because of the team that he's on. And that is the Las Vegas Raiders tight end Bowers.
Oh, yeah.
He is carrying that team. I just picked him up as a whim on fantasy football, and he's the number 1 tight end in fantasy football. He's killing everyone. He is the sole reason they get points on the board. And he is playing like he's been in the league for 5 years. It's been so impressive. He won't win. I get it. Tight ends, not flashy enough, right? Whatever. He needs to go date Taylor Swift, apparently. But it's like, I think he gets overlooked because of how bad that team is, but he is playing at an elite level. He's really fun to watch.
You know what? I didn't even think about him, and you're right. It is. It's because he's on the Raiders.
Yep.
And honestly, if the Raiders were winning, could you consider him as an MVP because if it's all about him, I don't see why not.
Right.
Has a tight end ever won MVP? This is just me. See, Sue you gotta keep up, y'all. You gotta keep up in the chat. We keep it moving.
It's either that or she's like, oh, I don't want to say that. Oh, I don't want to say that. But yeah, I think if I had to pick, I'd probably go Jaden Daniels for sure. What about defensive rookie of the year?
It's got to be Javon Verse. It's got to be.
Who?
There's just no. It's got to be Verse, right?
I agree completely.
It's got to be because he's the only one you hear about.
Yeah.
I don't think you have one outstanding player. When you look at defense, you look. Who else? Who's the other guy that I keep thinking about? The cornerback for the Eagles. That dude. What's his name? Mitchell, Quentin Mitchell.
Oh yeah, he's been okay. Yeah, he's been good
okay.
too.
But like you said, it's a mile difference to me between a pass rusher and a cornerback. So it's kind of almost unfair because if you have an outstanding pass rusher,
they're just so much flashier.
Yeah, and I think it's sexier. It's a sexier pick
for sure.
Me, so.
I think it's going to be. Diana Wilson put Tyrese Knight. So let me just tell you guys, for you don't know who Tyrese Knight is. Tyrese Knight is a rookie. He plays for Seattle in the secondary.
Oh, no kids. A shocker.
I know, but listen, he has come out like in the last 3 games, all of a sudden playing great. He's nowhere in this conversation, but he's been very impressive. But I think Verse has just been there and just, I don't really think
and he was though, Dana, wasn't he not? Coming out of college, he's a day starter. He kind of said that it's like a lot of the top 5 edge rushers and stuff like that. They're ready. They're day one ready, and that's why they're coming off the board so early. And I felt like he just picked it up right where he left off in college and is just having a really good season.
There's a couple others on the odds. Quinion Mitchell, you were right about that. Cooper DeJean, Braden Fisk, Chop Robinson has played well, but I just don't think they're at the level that Verse.
No, but they're coming on. I think I'm going to put Chop Robinson with your guy. The last 3 games, we've heard Chop Robinson's name.
Yeah.
So that's encouraging as me as a fan saying, okay, light bulb's starting to go off. He's starting to kind of figure things out. That's what you want.
Yeah, for sure.
Agreed.
Sonia, what about for you? Defensive player of the year.
Defensive player of the year.
Mm-hmm.
That guy in Pittsburgh, TJ Watt.
Oh, that one guy.
Yeah, that guy.
That one guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go TJ Watt. Steelers defense, I think, is starting to get back to Steelers defense that we know and love, and that guy is just the anchor of it. And TJ Watt for me. Camden agrees.
I'll keep pounding the table for my Myles Garrett because that team is horrible and he still looks fantastic. So he'd look better in blue and green. Anyway, that we can. All right, Lisa, what about offensive player of the year?
See, now this is where I put Saquon. This is
why? Because he's not a quarterback.
Well, maybe. Because I've already given the MVP to the quarterback. so I kind of feel a little bad that because you like said, I do think we've revolved around back to the running back position. I really do. I think with Derrick Henry, with Saquon, some of the other running backs have come on. Offensive player of the year for me is him, just because, like you said, what he's done for the Eagles. I think he's made the major change. And that's what you look for. You look for a guy that's come in and has just impacted the league and stats and records. He could make a 2,000-yard season. So I go Saquon. I think this is his to lose. MVP, I still think is kind of up in the air.
Get the call.
Sorry.
So I want to show this that Darcy pointed for us. Thank you, sir. 38 quarterbacks, 16 running backs, 2 defensive players, and a kicker. Who the hell's the kicker that won?
Who's the kicker? But Darcy,
Darcy, I'm gonna need you to look that up for us.
Yeah, look that. I'm gonna try too, but
not a tight end. I'm campaigning for a tight end to win next year. Daggone it.
Well, a tight end, technically, if you thought about it, the way Bowers has been playing, he should be in mentions. I haven't even seen the mentions. So
there's our answer. Mark Moseley with the
God.
Redskins.
Of course, you would know that one.
Of course you would.
Right? For him. Exactly. So I think we all know that if we go to trivia night, we're gonna have Darcy on speed dial so that he can get us the answers and get us some money. And
now we'll never forget Mark Moseley. So that's in our head. So if that's $1 million, he's gonna want some dibs on that money if we win.
Oh, that's totally fine. I am totally down for that. So yeah, Darcy, stay on speed dial if we ever go to trivia night. Okay. Maybe we should do that here. Maybe we should do a trivia night one day.
Which is surprising with the way Justin Tucker kicks, right? Wouldn't you think Justin Tucker would have been a name for an MVP kicker, right? He's the one that I would think that if you thought about an MVP being a kicker again, he would be the MVP kicker. I mean, he kicked that damn long ass field goal that one year. I mean, he was kicking his mind off that one year.
Yeah, so I could almost see him. Lions.
Yeah,
that was like the longest
67 something.
Yeah.
Now he can't.
They've got some really good kickers.
Now he can't kick an extra point.
Not this year.
Time to hang it up, buddy. Time to
hang
it up.
You're done.
He's done.
You're done.
I mean, he's a kicker that you could almost draft like in the second round of your fantasy, because he's that good. He was. I don't think we're there yet.
Zombies are in his head. It's in his head now.
That's right. Yeah.
Keep you in mind, Darcy.
That's right.
All right. Since it is that time of year, let's get into the playoffs. And the race is shaking up. So who in the NFC has clinched has been the Eagles and the Lions so far. Right there, I think the Vikings just have to win like maybe one more game. I think they're for sure in. It's a very interesting playoff race coming up. I think it's going to be 3 of the 4 teams of the NFC North. That's just my thoughts because that's how well they're all playing. Look at me. I'm being good. I'm being nice. John, you see me? I'm being nice.
I know. John's not here today. So, the NFL sent out the playoff scenarios for this week. So clinched in the AFC are the Bills and the Chiefs. At some point, we've got to discuss the luck and the shamrocks and the leprechauns that the damn Chiefs have hidden under that field. I'm just telling you, insanity.
They're playing with fire, y'all.
Good things happen.
They are. Let's see. The Houston Texans can clinch the AFC South title with a Houston win and an Indy loss. God, Indy. Poor Indy. And then Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 10-3, they're playing the Eagles. They clinch a playoff berth with a Pitt win or tie and a Miami loss, or Miami loss, tie, and an Indianapolis loss or tie. Oh, we're still at that where it takes 7.
We're still a couple of help.
Yeah. For the NFC, clinched are the Lions and the Eagles. Green Bay, they play at Seattle on Sunday Night Football. Green Bay will clinch a playoff berth with a Green Bay win and an Atlanta loss or tie and a San Francisco and Rams tie.
Good grief.
Yeah. Minnesota Vikings are 11-2. They're playing the Bears. Minnesota clinches a playoff berth with either a Minnesota win. So all they have to do is win, and they're in.
All right, Rams loss. Pencil them in.
Yeah. A Rams loss or tie or a Seahawks loss or tie. And then the Eagles play the Steelers. I think that game's going to be good. Philadelphia will clinch the NFC East with a Philly win and a Washington loss or tie and a Philly tie or a Washington loss. So that's kind of where we're at right now. But I think when you look at it, the cream has already risen to the top, right? Like we already know, we have a very good idea. But there's interesting, some of these divisions, there's going to be a couple of good teams who are left out of the playoffs just because of they're just too many good teams this year with those higher numbers.
Yeah, when they get down to it. I mean, when you look, and like I said, you're still going to have a disruptor. You're still going to have a disruptor. And I'm calling the Rams right now to be a disruptor. I think the Rams are going to take down I think the Rams are going to take either down the Lions or the Eagles. I think one of these teams is going to go. And I think the Rams, because, you have Matthew Stafford that's playing pretty good football. You've got to,
he's so inconsistent though, Lisa.
I know, but we're getting into the playoffs. I don't think it's going to matter. I think it's going to be, if they can get in, I think they're going to be the disruptor of that.
I agree. I agree. And I mean, he's inconsistent at times, Stafford, but I'm telling you what, don't give him the ball with his team down like by 3.
Right. No, agreed.
and they have their weapons are back. They look at the receiving core, for crying out loud. I mean,
it's that run game. It's that run game. Oh my God. They're just killing it. The running backs are the kings this year. For sure. So currently in the AFC, Kansas City is the 1st seed. And then you have Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and Houston in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Baltimore is the 5th. The Chargers are the 6th, and Denver. So that's 3 NFC West teams, or AFC West teams, excuse me, that are currently in it right now. On the NFC side, you have Detroit as the 1st seed, Philly is the 2nd, Seattle is the 3rd, Tampa Bay is the 4th seed, and then you have Minnesota with the 5th seed, Green Bay with the 6th, and Washington with the 7th. And I think it's really that Green Bay, Minnesota, Lions, like they are going to be the ones that end up with all of these teams, that there might be someone on the outside looking in because they're just so good. There's so many good teams in that division. So it'll be really, really interesting.
Yeah.
I think though it's pretty obvious. I mean, with the Shamrocks and the Leprechauns that Kansas City has, they'll definitely get that 1st seed, which they're going to desperately need. I think they need that bye, because if they didn't, I think there is a very good chance that they would go out in the wild card, just with things. That luck can't last forever. So, I mean, the doink, for God's sake. I mean, the Chargers are right there on their heels. I know. It's crazy. I can't.
Playing with fire.
I know. But let me tell you, their fans are real nervous. They're real nervous. So
I'll give you that, because I don't think
they've got it. They've got it. The road has to go through Kansas City. You don't, or else
they're done.
You don't want to go to Buffalo. You don't. Yeah, you don't want to go to Pittsburgh. I mean, you've got to make it. So you got to see them play lights out. Like you said, that the doink and it goes in. Good God, it's
pixie dust. I'm telling you, it's
crazy. Good things happen to good teams. I mean, just the way it goes. I mean,
vomit! No one gets that much luck. I mean, it's just
please.
Freaking luck. I mean, kicks like that are nothing but luck. They just aren't. You know what I mean? So
I mean, it's a 50-50 chance it goes in or goes out. I mean,
it's very, very true.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying right there. I do. Agreed. I think they're going to be the disruptor. They're going to knock one of these powerhouses out.
I mean, they already did that on Sunday. They looked so good against the Bills. They are tough. They're going to be a tough out, I think.
They just are. It's that inconsistency, which is true of all NFC West teams right now. It's true of a lot of teams out there right now. It's just that inconsistency for sure. But I don't know. It's a little bit crazy. Now, of any of these teams. So Lisa, you think that the Rams they're not even in the playoffs right now.
I know. So I'm saying I do. I think
they're going to come up at some point.
They do. I do. I think they're going to be the disruptor. I really do. I think they're going to knock one of these teams out.
Well,
I love that for them.
Let me say. So if they manage to beat I'm looking at the predictor here. So if they manage to beat San Francisco, which I don't think is going to be too hard of an ask, to be totally honest with you. But, and then let's say, so that if Green Bay beats Seattle, the Rams beat San Francisco, that pushes Seattle back out, and the Rams in. But then the next week, if you flip that at all, they're right back in it. There's a couple of divisions, I think, that are really going to come down to the last game again. And I love that kind of football. I think that's fun.
Well, that's what happened last year, wasn't it? I mean, we did. Mm-hmm. We came down to the Bills game in Miami, where Miami could have won the division. And I think we even said that we loved the matchups at the end of the year within the divisions. Now it sucks if your team's one of them, because your anxiety's right here, and it's like,
right.
But as far as football, this is where you got to win. And that's when we go back to the college football, when we were talking about the bowl games and people bitching about their teams not getting in. Well, you know what? Win.
Yeah.
Just win. Don't lose 3 damn games.
Be better.
Alabama. Yeah. And like I said, so.
Yeah. Can we take our last 2 minutes and talk about Bill Belichick going back to college?
Let me tell you something. Can I go first on this?
Yeah,
as a Dolphin fan, you love this. Let me tell you, because he's not coming near Don Shula's record now. And somebody here better talk about the the AP meme that he put out. Somebody's got to talk about it.
But the what?
AP, Antonio Brown, posted. Listen, it was really, truly funny. He said that Bill Belichick was going to take the job because his girlfriend was a junior at North Carolina.
See? Now y'all got to stop this madness.
Listen,
she's 24.
I know. Come on. I'm sorry. I'm not sugarcoating.
No. You're fine. You're fine. I'm just being a goof.
Not for anything.
That was a good one.
He nailed it. I'm sorry. That was the Twitter won that, or X won that day. He won that vote because that was just downright damn funny.
Right. It was. Yeah, this really surprised me. And then they were talking about how he's going to run it like an NFL team and he's going to do this. And I was listening to Sirius XM NFL radio today and Bill Polian was on and he didn't like this idea at all.
Why?
Because he's like, Bill Belichick, he knows how to run the money. So NIL will be easy for him. He'll be able to get that. He knows how to get the players in proper position. He knows how to coach them. He knows how to do this. What he does not know how to do and has never had to do is recruit.
Yep.
He has no idea how to go talk.
To recruit, Dana.
Yes, you do. Because you do. Because money is bigger than status at this point in college football. And Bill Polian had a great point. He's like, he doesn't understand that you have to go start talking to these kids when they're in the 9th grade. Bill Belichick cannot relate to a 14 or 15-year-old. He cannot get them to come and do that because they don't give a shit what he used to do.
I disagree. If you're a parent, I don't. If you're a
10 years old,
how many Super Bowls has the guy won?
Yeah.
But how many Super Bowls? You're not going to want your kid to play for that? Are you serious?
No. All right, but Lisa, it doesn't matter because if this school's like, okay, you can go on and play for Bill Belichick, but I'm going to give you an extra 100,000 in NIL. They don't give a shit about Bill Belichick, so he has to figure out.
But you just said he's a money guy. You don't think that he's not going to filter
money? You only
get
so much.
You know how many kids are hitting the damn portal. You know how many kids are hitting
but that's
Florida State's top quarterbacks hitting the portal today. He just announced it. The one guy that started that actually has a really good thing.
I think when you're talking 15 to 18-year-olds, they don't care what Bill Belichick did with Tom Brady. They're going to care about how much money you're going to give me to go play college football.
I think his parents still will, and I think that you're going to get showcased if you're playing for Bill Belichick. You're going to get all the media attention when you're playing for Bill Belichick. I totally disagree with you. I do. I think
you don't disagree with me. It was Bill Polian that said it. And,
I think Bill Polian's crazy. I do. I think he's crazy.
He's one of the best football minds out there, but yeah.
His team still sucks. His team
I see both. I see both.
I think the money's going to matter.
Well,
I think they're going
to I think money is going to matter to some, but I also feel, Lisa, that, I think that for some kids, if money might not be the number one driver, if you get a chance to play with Bill Belichick, I think you take it.
Yeah, and then he tells you you're terrible, and then he kicks you off your team because you're not pro ready. I mean,
but he's going to have that. He's going to have that, Dana. He's going to have what Nick Saban said about the Dolphins. You're strapped when you're an NFL a coach. You only got 52 people that you can bring in. Only a certain amount of people. You're unlimited in college. You can have 100 people, 100 kids on the sidelines if you want to. I
think he's going to be too old school, Lisa. I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to watch if he's officially taking it. Now, I know that that's not official yet, but I think
here's my thing. Apparently, he's only doing this to get his son a job. Because in the contract, from what I was listening to them, was that he's trying to make a deal. He's going to bring his son along, and if he retires and stuff, his son is to take over.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yes,
nepotism is alive and well in the NFL.
Yeah, because and that was Connie and I were talking about that on X, was that one of the stipulations that his son comes along and then precedes him.
That makes sense.
And so I'm like, okay, so he's just taking the job to get his son a job is basically the way I saw that.
So this is interesting. We have Camden. If your coach Belichick, you get to go on. If your coach is Belichick, you get to go on the Pat McAfee show. Yeah, or Peyton Manning and Eli Manning's show.
They love him.
I know. It's so funny. So Sue says she agrees. She's like, it's to give his son a job. She had read that too. That makes total sense. So yeah, I think it's really interesting. Darcy brings up something here. speaking of refs, how many weeks and tweets from LASIX are we going to take for the refs to stop missing calls? I think we're going to dive into that next week, Darcy. Because it was that missed face mask on Joe Burrow right in front of.
How do you miss that?
Exactly. So I think we should just dive into that whole subject next week for sure. So, I mean, I just think it's important. So it's bad.
Oh, for sure.
It's bad.
Y'all.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm trying to figure out what, like I said, I know we'll dive into it next week. I'm just trying to figure out what they're watching. I guess that's my thing. Right. Because when you're watching it, it's like the guy's head goes like that. Aren't you watching the guy with the damn ball? Aren't you supposed to be watching the guy with the damn ball? You don't see the guy's head do a 180? Almost exorcist around?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what they're looking at. I don't know. I would really want to be, this is just me because sometimes I like to do stuff like this, but I would love to just kind of see what they see like in the moment. Like I would love to just be down as a ref on the set, just like, just watching and seeing what they see and how fast it's going.
They need to wear those Ray-Ban computer glasses. Those
Literally.
glasses. That would be so cool.
See, here's a story. It says Bill Belichick reportedly discusses head coaching plan involving his son, Steve Belichick. If hired by the University of North Carolina, the elder Belichick reportedly wants a guarantee that his son will be heir in their program.
That's so tacky. Crazy.
I mean, at that point, just go after his kid, right?
Yeah, but here's my question. Wasn't it Belichick who declined the New York Jets job that was supposedly set up with I forgot his name. The New York Giants head coach that won the Super Bowl, Parcells. Oh. Parcells reportedly had it in his contract that Bill Belichick would become the Jets head coach. And when it came around, Bill's like, I'm bolting, I'm out. So he should know about all that heir apparent stuff.
Right.
One should. Why are the refs picking up flags that are obviously flags? That's a very good question, Camden. I think we'll talk more about that next week, but I don't.
We could actually talk about that tomorrow.
I have never understood that for a long time because, long-suffering Lions fan, that has happened more than I care to remember.
But do you agree with them getting all together and discussing the penalty and then picking up a flag if the one guy goes, you know what? No, he just had his hand on it. They both were hand fighting down the field. I kind of like that they get together and discuss it instead of just having the guy who was 40 yards away from the play throw the flag, where your back judge might say, you know what? No, they were both hand fighting down. I'm not seeing a penalty on there. And they make the decision to pick up the flag. I kind of like that.
I think if it's something like that where, okay, yeah, both like, no, I got the really good view of it. Mm-hmm. I can see it. We can go back and look at it. Great. But if it's something blatant that everybody should be able to see, why do you pick up a flag? I don't know. That has happened, and it's horse crap.
Yeah, but like you said, though, we can't even prolong because the first thing everybody's going to say is, well, why don't you, if we can't determine if it's a flag or not and the flag's thrown and they're having a discussion, why don't we go to replay? Because that would make the game 5 hours long.
That part.
Because I've already heard the face mask thing. Well, why can't, if they show it to because they show them on the screen. That's how the bottles got thrown in Texas, because they showed the bad call and they started throwing bottles on the field. So they all got together, saw it, and was like, okay, they picked up the flag. Now that's something to discuss because, wow, that was like minutes after the play. They had to stop play. Then they got a chance to review it after they were trying to get the bottles off. And then they picked the flag up because they're like, yeah, that was kind of a bad call.
I also wonder if there is, I know that there are times when the NFL will say, or like officiating will say, we really did screw that up. Mm-hmm. And I wonder what they do internally. Listen to me sound like a quality person. But I wonder what they do internally.
They actually do more than that. So they keep track of how many bad calls that they've had or how many disputed calls, I guess you could say, or question mark calls. And it's depending on how well you ref is what type of games. Do you get the Sunday night games? Do you get the Monday night games? Do you get a Super Bowl? So they do have a ranking system in there for that, for sure. And then there have been refs that have been fired. So yeah, for sure.
And the team gets a nice letter that says,
we
blew it.
Yeah.
Because I asked Mike Tannenbaum that once in a press conference, because I always at the stadium always watched him. He was always like he was always writing stuff. So I asked him one time, I said, when you're up there, I said, I kind of watch you a little bit. And he goes, you watch me? I said, yeah. I said, in plays, you write stuff. I said, are you writing down the plays or the players? And he goes, well, I'm not writing love letters to my wife. That's what he said to me. And I started laughing. He said, no, I'm writing down plays that were flagged or questionable that he goes back and asks the league. Because I guess they have plays that they can question the league about.
Yeah, they can, for sure. Well, we're going to supposedly talk about this more next week, but they just wanted to talk about it now. So
exactly. Well, look at us going 10 minutes over, but that's okay. We like talking to you all. There were lots of great interactions and all that good stuff. So yes, we'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat place to talk about more reffing and things of that nature. However, tomorrow, 8 p.m., let's talk some college, y'all. We got the playoff rankings out. We got the bowl games. Lisa's excited. I think, are you going to come join us, Lisa?
Yeah, I'll be on.
Awesome. Lisa's going to come join us. We're going to talk about it. And then this weekend, you guys, Friday, I'm going to Radio Row at the Celebration Bowl. Saturday, I'm going to actually be at the Celebration Bowl. So great weekend coming up for football. So I'm so excited to rep you guys and to just be out there having a good time. But yeah, that's it for now. We'll see y'all next week. Bye. Thanks, guys.